162,078 Bitcoin is what the ETFs are on track based on the last or the first 26 days of trading are on pace to acquire if we take the average of the first 26 days and then multiply that by the number of trading sessions that are left until the halving, which is April 17th. You're looking at 42 trading sessions, and you're looking at 162,078 Bitcoin that the ETFs are on pace to acquire by the 17th of April, which is like 10% almost of the available supply on exchanges at this point by April 17th in 42 trading sessions. This level of demand has never ever been seen by Bitcoin, Bitcoin market, any of your favorite Bitcoiners, any of your favorite shitcoiners, no matter who you're talking to. This level of demand is unprecedented and requires another look. There's a lot of Bitcoiners and people that have been talking about Bitcoin in the space for a number of years that, in my opinion, are basically doom and gloom boomers that are gold bugs who found Bitcoin but still believe in the destruction of the world, still believe in the destruction of America, still believe that everything's got to collapse, still believe that the world has to come to an end in order for their mentally masturbatory fantasies about how the world really works to come true. But that's not what's going on here. What's happening is that the world, I don't believe in that. I'm sorry, I do not believe that America has to collapse. I don't believe America will collapse. I think Chinese stock markets are sitting at 34-year lows. I think China is cooked at this point. I think the population crisis in China is much more powerful than what people think. I think Chinese economy, with all the ghost cities that they've got, is going to struggle. The stock market might see a pump with the amount of money printing that they've got to do to keep this thing alive. But overall, I think the future, I would say 25 to 30 years, if America can hold on, is going to swing back to America. And part of that is going to be how much Bitcoin is controlled, not necessarily owned, but controlled within the borders and the regulatory borders of America. And this is part of it. And the fact that these ETFs are on track to buy up 162,000 Bitcoin in 42 more trading sessions should terrify you if you're sitting there going, do I need to think about this? Do I need to buy more Bitcoin? Do I need to get to my one? If you're sitting in real estate and you're watching BlackRock, Fidelity come into this game, and all the other wonderful asset managers come into this game, and you're sitting there going, okay, so they've been on track buying 3,859 Bitcoin a day for the first 26 trading sessions. That's got to slow down, right? Why? There's only two levers. It's supply and demand, right? The supply is absolutely fixed. Right now, you've got $200 million a day chasing 900 Bitcoin mined per day, plus all the morons that are selling it into the market, handing it to institutions. And we know that for a fact now. Because the one pattern that we've seen from any analyst that you want to look at is that over the last 2 weeks, retail has been dumping and institutions have been buying. Retail has been dumping to the enemy, right? The enemy. And institutions have been sucking this Bitcoin up under their control. Not necessarily ownership, but control. There's a difference between these two things. This is what I've been saying. I've been wanting you to subscribe, right? Because as I've been laying this out for the last few months, the one thing that we know is that the institutions are now here. I've been saying this ever since August. As soon as BlackRock in June applied for that, I said, this is a done deal. That's why, like August, I sensed the urgency and decided to focus on YouTube and getting this message out there, because this ain't going to be here forever. You're not going to get the opportunity like my parents. When my dad immigrated to the United Kingdom and his family worked hard, bought a bunch of property, blah, blah, blah. I can still buy 10 properties, for example, right? Might not be in the same area, might not be in the same location, but I can still own 10 properties. You will never be able to do that with Bitcoin. If you can buy one Bitcoin right now, there is not a world in the future where your children, your progeny, will be able to buy one Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin is everywhere at the exact same time, and it's nowhere at the exact same time. It is the one asset that we have Whether you're in London, New York, Singapore, Dubai, it is the exact same asset with the exact same supply constraints. And so right now you're looking at this going, okay, British HODL is saying that the ETFs are on track with the last 26. I'm not talking about anything like this is what I think is going to happen. All I'm saying is for the last 26 trading sessions, which is the first 26 trading sessions, they bought 3,859 Bitcoin per trading session. You extrapolate that out until the halving, you got 42 trading sessions left. That means they're going to need to buy 162,078 Bitcoin in order to keep that trend going. And the only thing that can change here, right, is the supply, because that's what's going to happen in April. And I'm going to do more videos about the halving, so I want you to subscribe so you don't miss them as well, and what impacts the halving is going to have on price, and how that is going to impact your decision making on how much you might want to allocate to your portfolio. So ultimately here, you should be terrified at this level of demand. This is an unprecedented level of demand, and I understand the markets are on a holiday today in the USA, but you need to realize that right now is your one opportunity. If you care about your progeny, you care about what your last name means, now is the time to secure this Bitcoin, because these institutions are not going to stop buying. They are going to continue acquiring 3,859 Bitcoin. And some moron is out here, doesn't know how to lock his car. And okay, I don't know whether you guys could hear that or not, but it was pissing me off. So the issue is this: the older I get, the less I want to live in cities. That's one thing I'm learning for sure. So yeah, I mean, you know, that's a whole different conversation. But here, the thing that you got to pay attention to is the ETFs are on track to buy 162,078 Bitcoin by April 17th. This is no one's ever seen this level of demand. So anyone who's telling you, okay, cool, you know, based on the previous cycle, this is what's going to happen and this, that, and the other, I don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what's going to happen, because this is an unprecedented level of demand. And I'm going to do a video tomorrow on what I think is going to happen in terms of cycles. So will you subscribe to make sure that you don't miss that video tomorrow around what my perspective is on how the cycle is going to change into Bitcoin. But ultimately, ETFs on track, 162,078 Bitcoin in the next 42 trading sessions by April 17th. Get your shit together and get your position in place. Get educated on what Bitcoin is. And if you need education on what Bitcoin is, you don't need to go paying for it. I recorded the exact training that I put my parents through to help them understand why they needed to pivot their real estate portfolio and diversify some of that into Bitcoin. And it's called the $5 Million Bitcoin. And you can get the training by going into the description. There's a link in there. And it's completely and utterly free. But ultimately, there are always only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, you shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.